I was about to make a video reviewing AI material generators. Then I sat down to record it and I realized that the whole workflow was completely broken. So I built a plugin that lets me generate AI models without ever leaving 3ds Max. So I just put a photo in, I get a model out, and it goes straight into the scene. So there's no browser, no download folder. So I'm going to show you how it works and why, if you're a 3D artist, you need to be rethinking how you're using your tools. All right, so every AI tool at the minute lives in a browser, and that's the issue. So this is the current process. We open our browser, we go to Meshy, we upload our image, we make some adjustments to the settings, we hit generate, we wait for it to generate, and then we get our model, and then maybe we want to put a texture on it. So let's have a HD texture, and then we hit texture, and then we wait again, and now it's generating. And then maybe we want to remesh it, and we'd have to do this again. And then the model comes back, and then maybe we want to remesh it, but let's just say that we are happy with this model. Then we need to download it. We need to make sure we select the right format. And then we hit download. We wait for that to download. And then we open up Max. Then we go to downloads. We extract all. Then we open it up. And then we find it. Then we drag and drop it in. We import it. And then, luckily, we don't have to relink the textures. So it's around 11 steps. And by the time the model is actually in, I've just completely lost what I was working on in the first place in 3ds Max. Now we can open up the plugin. We can choose the image. We can say we want quads, how many polys we want, the file format, and we can hit generate. And the cool thing here is I can still be working in my scene whilst this is processing. And this is the model that was generated and brought in. So the reason this matters isn't just the time saved. For like every model, you have to go through all of these steps. With the plugin, you pick an image, you click generate, and the model is automatically put into the scene. And why this matters is because when you're in Max and you're in Flow and you want to generate something, you can either use the plugin and it's going to import your model straight away, or you open browser, you wait for download, and every time you're switching, it's a tax on your attention. So you leave Max thinking about the scene and you come back and you're thinking, where are the textures, where's the file path? And you go through this process, or you can do it all in 3ds Max. So the old way takes you out of Flow. The new way, you can continue working in Max while this is generating. Not long ago, something like this would require a developer, but it doesn't anymore. I'm not a developer. I've made a few Max scripts in my time, but now I can just describe to an LLM what I want. So you can use something like Whisper Flow, and that means I can just talk to it. So if I hold Shift and Alt, I can say, hey, I need a new tool made. Help me build this. It's in 3ds Max. This is what I want it to do. And I hit enter, and it's going to start building it. And then I had a working version within an hour. And the plugin you're looking at right now is what I ended up with. So in here, I put in my Meshy API key. Then I upload the image I want. The model, I can choose what model to use, the typology, the poly count I want, the import format, whether I want PBR materials, whether I want it to generate a texture, and then remesh as well. So I've got remesh on, and you can see that the mesh is actually solid. So what I'm saying is we're no longer constrained by how, it's more what, and deciding what we want to build. So this whole idea of eliminating anything that isn't creative came from Mike's talk on Coffee Hour this week, where he wants his artists doing creative work, and then anything else is gone, automated, integrated, or just removed. And this is what our 3D artist community is about. It's 3D artists figuring out how to future-proof their careers, what to build, what to automate, and what to ignore. So if you want to join, go to school.com/3dartists and hit join group now. And you can join the group for absolutely free. We have coffee hour every week, and it's full of artists keeping pace with the industry. So here are some examples of the outputs. Some of them I put on quads, some I had on triangles, and they come in textured. And then some of the things worth noting, like the scale is never going to be correct. Some of these images, I didn't remove the background and they come out like this. So this is a good comparison of with the background left on and then without. Each of these models took a few minutes to generate. They came straight into the scene and they cost around 60 cents each to make. So AI is moving fast. Most artists are just passive consumers of these tools and we use whatever the vendor ships. But the artists who do well over the next few years are going to be the ones who shape their tools instead of waiting. So it's like the artists who learned MaxScript in 2005. They had an edge over anyone who didn't. So it's all about the leverage. And the difference is the bar to do it has collapsed. So you don't need to learn a programming language. You just need to be able to describe what you want. So here's how I think about it. Pick one tool you use that breaks your flow. And for me, when I was researching this, it was the model generator, so Meshy. But for you, it might be reference, it might be asset management or a render queue. So choose a specific action and describe it to the AI assistant and build something. There's going to be a huge gap between the artists that do this and those that don't. So if you want to be in the room with the artists who are doing this, then come join the free community and let me know in the comments what tool you want to see next. And if you want to see how to prepare for AI as an artist, then watch this video next.